Growth. Along with being something you don't want to discover on your jiggly bits, it's what product teams all over are striving for. But what should your growth look like? And how do you measure it? If you're selling a product in the enterprise space, you've probably followed the old song and dance model for a while. Make them come to you, schedule a demo, then show them in person what your product can do for them. You know. While it's understandable that you might want the chance to explain a more complex product or service, this model has a few pitfalls. Not only do you have to jump through hoops on sales calls every day, you also get in the way of prospects connecting with your product on their own. What would happen if you followed in the footsteps of disruptors like Zoom and Slack and let your market come to you? Today, I'll be chatting with Omer Molad, co-founder and CEO at Vervoe, who will share how to start shifting the spotlight from sales pitches to your product itself. Every marketer dreams of being able to shorten the sales cycle, and while it's possible, we don't always find the best ways to do it. There's this reluctance to step back from what you've made and let it stand on its own. People won't understand the value, is usually the way this sentiment comes out. But if your product is truly excellent, and I know you wouldn't be marketing if it weren't, then it deserves a chance to shine on its own. Another bonus of a successful shift to product-led growth: naturally lower acquisition costs. Instead of paying to attract a flow of right-fit customers who take weeks or months to choose you, you can open a floodgate to all comers and let your perfect fit customers see for themselves what your product can do. Today on Marketing is Broken, Omer Molad will share how his AI-powered skill testing software, Vervoe, sells itself, and how his team avoids common mistakes while putting the product first. All right, so first things first, let's make sure that we're on the same page. What does the phrase product-led growth mean to you?
Yeah, so when we think about product-led growth, we think about being able to get to value without speaking to a human. It's as simple as that. And by value, we don't necessarily mean repeat usage of the product or paying money or anything like that, but it's just the user being able to reach a conclusion that this product solves their problem. And so if as a user, I can discover something and figure out that this is going to help me, and I don't need to actually talk to someone from sales or support, I can do that just by interacting with the product, then there's something very special in that product experience. And that is the key ingredient for enabling product-led growth.
Yeah, that sounds super hard. How do you make sure your product can be understood without a sales rep or somebody else framing that?
Yeah, it really depends on the product. So in some cases, value is immediately obvious. So if you're selling a skateboard, people know what a skateboard is, and they can imagine that if they stand on it, they'll go fast, and they can actually stand on it and go fast. They can take it for a test drive. But if you're buying a B2B software for procurement, for vendor management, or insurance, it's probably going to be a little harder to imagine how that's going to solve your problem in a unique way. And so the key is onboarding, that first mile experience. And most products are built for repeat usage, but not for onboarding. They assume that a human will then help the user use the product on an ongoing basis. But building a magical onboarding experience for that first user, for that first mile, that first experience and interaction with the product can help people go on that journey on their own and reach a conclusion without talking to anybody that this is something that can help them in a meaningful way. It doesn't have to be enough to implement or to make a purchasing decision, but just enough to say, I think this is something I want to know more about.
Yeah. So, and it's really interesting because you see a lot of companies and products starting off with free trials, but doesn't necessarily mean that the consumer is going to get value, right? And so when you open up the product and kind of let everybody kind of get into the product and kind of get to that, trying to find that value, there's some common issues that companies face when they open up access to the software to everybody.
Yeah, so there are major challenges with doing that, and people think, often I hear people talking about um, the reasons not to do it are things like, oh, people are going to copy us, and we'll expose our IP. But I actually think that's a red herring. That's not the reason at all. The biggest challenge is that the onboarding experience won't be good enough, and the first impression will be poor, and then people won't come back. And so if you open up the product and let people in and you're not guiding them in the right way, then they'll be confused and they'll draw the wrong conclusion and leave. Or if you're not confusing them about, so if the experience is intuitive but it's incorrectly positioned, then they've come to buy an apple and actually you're selling oranges, and now they're going to compare you to the wrong competitors or make incorrect assumptions about your pricing. So that's a positioning issue as well. So it's all about crafting the right experience that tells them, you've come here to buy apples. Yes, we sell apples, or we make apples. So it's language, it's everything. It's the entire experience to confirm for people that they're in the right place. We're here to help them. We solve their problem. And all of that's possible, and it's extremely challenging. And if you can do that, there's something very magical. But if you're not at a level where you're capable of doing that, and you still need to learn a lot about the user and the kind of experience that needs to be designed for them, then I'd say maybe take it slow and don't open the doors up all at once.
That's some really great feedback. I think we as marketers, we're always trying to, tell people why they should use what it is we're trying to sell versus making it super clear and self-evident why people would want to experience the benefit. So, Omer Molad, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot, Josh.
Are you more tempted now than ever to ungate access to your product and see what happens? Hopefully, it helps you scale fast and flexibly. Maybe even to the point where people say, hey, you should get that growth checked out. Hey, it's Josh from Brandish Insights. Thank you for watching Marketing is Broken. If you like this week's episode, please click below to subscribe or check out other episodes. And if your company could use more insights around your branding efforts, check out brandishinsights.com.